into doom. Yes, it is talking doom scrolling today, this fine, fine, sunny day by the beach. And yes, this has been on my mind for several reasons because I've been having issues with this myself. And so I maybe figured that some people might gain something from this topic. Well, look who it is. It is our lovely animal, our polar bear, Snortopoopas Bear. Thank you for being here. Hello, humans and other critters. And he's saying hello to me. And I'm saying hello to everyone that will be coming or watching in the chat. Oh, look who it is, all the way. Wait, you're from the past, I think, where you are. But it's good morning, Adega Outlaw. And from the future, it is Potato Revan. Hello, thank you for being here. We're talking about doom scrolling today. Doom scrolling. It's becoming a thing, and it's a bit of a psychological issue. You know, sometimes when you see people just suddenly just snap and go crazy, and you're like, dude, you know, what is it? And it's like, well, they're spending so much time doom scrolling. So we're going to go into what doom scrolling is and maybe what you can do about it. And yes, it is a trap that you can't escape, because this is definitely a situation where the only winning play move is not to play, because it is a trap, and most of the stuff that you see is fabricated. I mean, for crying out loud, even our administration, you can't trust what they say. And I'm saying that in as someone that's a great supporter of the administration, but there so many times it's like, oh, this is a tactic. They don't really mean what they're saying. And it's like, I can't deal with that. That contributes to doom scrolling, because maybe it's a leftover boomer attitude I have, even though I'm not a boomer, that what you read, especially from credible people, that you're supposed to believe what they say. But if you can't believe what they say, so that adds another layer to the doom scrolling of where you can get very, very upset about something, and it turns out it's not even real, or it's not even true. It's a troll. Hello. Oh, Revan is here. Wait, did I miss? Oh, no, Potato Revan. Okay, there's another one. Doom, I tell you. Sup, agenda? Yeah. Or is it for Dega? Or Hey Snorts or Dega? So we're going to look at this. This is why it's been on my mind, because you know, it can affect you if you get so much into the doom. So we're gonna cheat today, or is it cheating? And just look at some AI here. The AI answer was pretty good, so I'm gonna get here, and they have articles to the right. So let's look at the definition of doom scrolling. What is it? Doom scrolling refers to the act of compulsively consuming negative views or social media content, often for extended periods. It involves continuously scrolling through distressing information such as headlines about disasters, crises, or other negative events. And as we know, if it bleeds, it leads. So everything that you're going to be seeing when you're doom scrolling, it will be negative. And again, I told you, it's not even real. Like, there was something even last night. I've been trying not to go on Twitter, but we did have some news. So I was trying to get some news, and, you know, silly me. So it was a situation of where, oh, look at this girl. She refused to fight someone that was a man. And then she got expelled for it. And everyone's like, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. Oh my gosh, this is awful. This is awful. And maybe it was true. But I looked and I was like, never says who, where, when, and where's the article saying that she was expelled? And I'm like, they got me. They got me again. That's why I'm saying it's a trap you can't accept, because there's a propensity to believe what you read. I mean, back in the past, it would be like you would believe the newspaper, you'd believe what was on the news, the nightly news. Now it's, you know, what you're having on X. And, you know, silly me, I thought things were going to change, but frankly, they're not, because there is a financial incentive for this. And I've talked before about stories that are years old that will be put up and get everyone all upset. I remember I got tagged. Everyone's like, what do you think about this? How could this happen? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And then I finally Googled it, and it was like, oh, this is something that happened 15 years ago. And of course, nothing came of it. So that's another part of the trap. But like I said, it's a trap you can't escape, because we need news. We need news. And if we can't get news about the world, we don't know the news. And if you ignore the news, you do so at your peril. there have been situations where we have lost seats because we just didn't turn out. So you need to follow the news, which is why I am such a proponent of let your yes be yes and your no be no, especially if you have a bully pulpit, because we need to be able to trust what you say. And let's see. Hello. Wow. Everyone's coming in. Everyone wants to hear about the doom. It is. Heisman, please tell me if it's true that AI will take over human jobs in 10 years now. Well, I think it's almost already happening. Let me see here. Before I get to, I'm going to go into more detail here, but I think that Potato Reverend says is making a good point. TikTok scrolling is doom scrolling. Oh, yeah. TikTok is the worst. Absolutely the worst. And in some cases, TikTok has done us a disservice because people think that that represents the majority. I'm not defending all teachers, I promise you. But a lot of people really think that all teachers are like what you see on TikTok. And it's like, no, most teachers aren't on TikTok because they have barely time to breathe, let alone be on TikTok. And I promise you that there are good people in education. There are good schools in public education and people that are fighting the good fight. And some of the punitive things that are going on, and everyone's like, well, did you see this blue hair? It's like, yes, I'm glad that there was a blue hair on TikTok that was an idiot that may not even be a teacher, and they're going to act on this and try to destroy things, because like it or not, we need to have good people in public education, because if we all leave, then that's, you know, a bad thing. And I should also say private education, because you are a fool if you think everything is good in private education. The same problems you see in public, you see in private. News is propaganda. Yeah, it is. And even, so-called our side. I've noticed old videos, Soul Assassin says, and news being retweeted again and again to get attention and clicks. That's right. You see, that's the other thing. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that is where the incentive now, because X is monetized, that people, they don't care if it's true or not. And I'm going to talk a little bit on Sunday with my Catholic Flaming Online Trolling, which is somewhat related to this, is about honesty. And what does it do to you if you are not honest? If you're doing it for money, in this case, it is not good for your soul. Eventually, it creeps in on you. Hound 3000 says, I'm doom scrolling on Ziegler's Snow White film. Is that bad since I enjoy hearing it? Well, you see, I wouldn't say that the Snow White thing is doom scrolling, because doom scrolling is, it's related to like real things, consuming negative news or social media content. So yeah, kittens, cats, you want to laugh at Rachel Zegler, that doesn't really have a negative effect. But if you're reading about something that affects your real life, and that's the kind of things that we're seeing with news, like that this can really affect you. This can affect your job. This can affect your safety. This can affect your children. And that is doom scrolling. And you can't help it. You don't realize what you're doing. You think, well, I've got to stay informed, but it really starts to negatively affect you. And I'm not sure what the answer is. Archer Collin is here. Let's see if I can find him. There he is. Thank you for being here. And Hound 3000. We love our doggies here on Miss Martin Muses. Salty Traveling Sea is here. Yay. Discernment requires both logical thinking and a sterling silver BS detector. Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, my BS detector is getting better. It is. But as I just said, I fell for something yesterday. Most are way too intellectually lazy, uninformed, and want to stay that way. That's right. And people depend upon that. People depend upon that. And I think part of it is we want to believe. I mean, we want to, people of goodwill, and the majority of people, I think, really are people of goodwill. They want to believe and trust, and those are positive things. So it's very difficult to comprehend that there are people out there that just want to mess with you for money. Yeah, so let's continue on to see if I'm missing anyone. I apologize. Potato Reverend says, I don't believe Karen videos are real. And these blue-haired, what would you do if you walked into a class and saw me leftist trend JS is a plant? Yes. Yes. Yeah, because have you noticed that they always end with What would you say to her? What would you say to that? This is another example of doom scroll. Thank you so much for saying this. Some of these Karen videos, they are not real. And I saw a video a few days ago about an incident on an airplane. And it was this big confrontation and all that. And they're like, who's in the right here? And of course, everyone's commenting. And then I looked a little closer and I'm like, wait a second. There's only like 6 people on this airplane. Because like you saw like 3 people, it was like 3 rows, the person filming across the way. And at first it looked like, oh, this is a full plane. But the person accidentally panned too far to the left. Nobody was in the rest of the plane. And someone in the comments was like, that's quite an empty plane. And why didn't any of the flight attendants show up here? Turned out, oh my gosh, this is a skit. And they've done that with some of these doctor videos and these nurse videos. Yeah, so you're looking at a skit. You're not even looking at the real thing, but it works. Let's see. Potato Ribbon says, I'm badly hurt right now. Doom scrolling is noisy. Keep me out of my head. Yeah. And, I'm never going to judge anyone for what they do because I'm doing it too. But I've noticed that it has had a negative effect on me. Like I have really been in a state of constant agitation over this last month. And that's why I stopped. But like I said, because there was breaking news, I did look a little bit and then I found myself right back in it again. We really need to examine how a lot of the antisocial behavior we're seeing is because of this online manipulation. I was talking to some relatives. They're like, what are you talking about? He's not saying this. He's not saying that. I'm like, yes, it's right here. But you see, they're not on X. A lot of people don't realize how much X is now influencing the real world. And I don't even want to start about the geopolitical situation right now because I really will get depressed. Good morning. Everyone's saying good morning. Look who it is. It is an corporeal life form. What is doom scrolling? Yes. Well, AI is helping out here. What does it say here? A manly handshake ensues. Good morning, sir. Yes. And respect to Soul Assassin, is it because of what he said there? Let me see. Wow, this has really got a lot of people here. Everyone's having vigorous hand stage. Salty Traveling Sea is explaining Norporeal life form, considering faulty stage psyop media that was created to evoke a negative response. Yes. Similar to rage bait. But it can also be like genuine, like you're really looking at news stories. If we had had X during 9/11, absolutely, I would have been just on there 24/7 and watching that footage over and over and over again, and the effect it has. Flight attendant, waitress in the sky. Military coming home has a lot of skits right now. Yes, where they surprise them. Archer Collins says, I've noted the odd tweet, which has been community noted to say a video has been staged or is a comedy skit or similar. Yes, it happens. And unfortunately, though, it usually takes about a day. So the person's already got their paycheck. And when you look at how much money these individuals are making, and we learned last week, it was outed that some people are even being paid to do these things. I wasn't hired as a flight attendant, says Norda Poopy Scooper. Apparently, I misunderstood what serving the passengers meant. Hello. Yes. And, oh, gosh, there was a good point about Heisman that I said that I was going to get to. Let me scroll back. Let me see. What up? Please, is it true? Will AI take over human jobs in the next 10 years now? I think so. I mean, Elon Musk even said it the other day that that's where they're going with education. So what's going on kind of makes sense. Now, I can tell you it's not a good idea. It's not, because what they'll do is they'll have like babysitter types just facilitating the AI. And this is where I get frustrated. Everyone's like, well, all teachers suck. All teachers are awful. They're all a bunch of liberals. Like, no, they're not. No, they're not. Just what you see online is not real, or teachers pushing an agenda. Teachers don't want to push an agenda. Or if you really look closely, a lot of that stuff is like in San Francisco or New York, but they're not in your local place. And of course, if you do see it in your local place, you need to stand up. But like it or not, we do need teachers. Now, I've been saying the reason why we need to leave over and over and over again, and no one really ever wants to get to that point. Everyone wants to blame the teachers. Now, yes, there are crappy teachers, but there are also really, really, really good teachers. And all of this, let's defund the education department again, might be a great thing. I don't know what's going to happen, but bringing it to the states, okay, but that's not going to change what's going on in the classroom until they allow teachers to kick kids out, till they expel violent kids, till they get rid of IEPs and 540s. And I hate to say it, eh, ESL, inclusion, nothing is going to change because one teacher cannot teach 20 lessons in the same 45 minutes and be expected to make a change or result. Or even if the kids were perfect, you only have them for 45 minutes. How are you supposed to change everything in the rest of the day for these kids? And when I say inclusion, a lot of people don't understand what I mean by inclusion. Inclusion means that you have to teach separate lessons. Like you have a lesson, but each of these kids has a different lesson plan. So you're trying to teach 1 and 1 equals 2, and by the time you try to get every single accommodation for all the kids, and and then you got the other kids that are just wanting to learn, and one teacher can't do it all, but they don't want to add more staff. They don't want to add discipline, and that sometimes if you have the right papers, you can like have outbursts and throw things and all that, but if it's part of your disability, you cannot be punished. Until that happens, nothing's going to change there. But I digress. Let me see, what else do we have? We have a lot of manly handshakes. Gonna turn back around here. Oh yeah, because we're talking about teachers and stuff, and that is a part of uh, that the airlines are scared of you, sort of poop a screw bear. Well, who wants a polar bear on an airplane? The Nerdpoint Life for morning, Brian. All right, work. Oh wait, everyone's just saying things, living life. There's an old joke about AI about a plane being crewed by an autopilot, a pilot, and a dog. The AP is there to fly the plane. The pilot is there to take over if the AP makes a mistake, and the dog is there to bite the pilot if he tries to take over from the autopilot. Yeah, always trust the dog. Yeah, we got to have humans involved. I mean, has anyone ever watched the Terminator, for crying out loud? But the airline shouldn't be scared of you since you'll be scaring away the Karens. That is true. That is true. Yeah. But doom scrolling is all related to this because I think doom scrolling has had negative real world effects. When I start talking about education, everyone leaves. Sorry about that, everyone. But this is definitely something about AI that'll happen. But these problems are not going to be solved until you solve what's happening. You can throw $1 million at a problem. I mean, we could even say the nursing problem. You can throw $1 million at this. You can bring certain things back to the state, but they have to change the policies. They have to change way things were run. And AI, I think that we will be going to AI. They've been making it very clear. That's why so many people are getting laid off right now. And I keep saying, well, where are people supposed to go that are being laid off? No one has the answer to that. But yes, AI is coming. All right. So let's continue with doom scrolling here. This behavior can lead to feelings of anxiety, depression, and stress. It can also contribute to a sense of hopelessness and a pessimistic outlook on the world. You see, and this is where I was finding myself. It's like the more I do it, the more I feel bad. And then, I went just over the edge when I found out how much was just manipulation. But yes, it really can contribute to that, and just a feeling of unease and malaise and all that stuff. So, but here's kind of where the trap is, and I've been talking about it as a trap. That's what my video says. My title says, rather, some factors that may contribute to doom scrolling include curiosity and a need to stay informed. Because, yeah, we need to stay informed. Because if you're not informed, then you don't know what's going on, and we need to have a well-informed populace. Part of our problem is that we don't have a well-informed populace. Here we go. Social media algorithms that prioritize negative content. That's why people do negative content because it works and the algorithm promotes it. Some people were saying to me, like, why do I keep seeing things that I don't even want? I'm not following these things, I'm not following these trends. And it's like, well, the algorithm is doing this, but I learned this is something recent that you can pay money to boost your X post. So I'm gonna be seeing stuff because someone paid 50 bucks, but I don't want to see it, but I still see it. And I think that this is why we're still seeing things like even if you mute people, you still see stuff. Even if you block people now, you can still see. I mean, it's just absurd. But yes, social media algorithm prioritizes it, so you're being led into it. So even if you try to manipulate your algorithm, the algorithm is manipulating you back. Confirmation bias, where individuals seek out information that confirms their existing beliefs. Yeah. And sometimes we need that in our lives. We need some confirmation bias. We need to feel better about ourselves. It's like, please, is there someone out here? So I enjoy that. I like to see, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one thinking this. So you want some confirmation bias. So that can get you scrolling. But then, as I said, the algorithm then brings in the negative, even if you don't want it. Even if you don't want it. And this is also why I get really cranky about the whole idea of trolling. It's like, haha, was just joking. It's like you just contributed to a lot of people getting agitated, upset, and anxiety. We are wired to be fight or flight for something that's not even real or that's a troll. Boredom or a lack of other activities to engage in. Yeah. So you're bored, I'll just doom scroll, go through things. And remember, we don't know how psychologically healthy people are on the other end or young people. I've seen grown-ups fall prey to this, including myself. And I would like to think that I have some pretty good coping skills. But if you are a teenager, teenagers, their brains are all insane. They can't handle it. And it's not so good. To mitigate the negative effects of doom scrolling, it's recommended to set limits on screen time. I'm skeptical about this because it never works. You tell yourself, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna set some limits on my screen time. But, well, guess what? An hour later, I've been doing it for an hour. I recommend cold turkey. But that's where the trap is because sometimes you need to have news, and we know we cannot trust the mainstream news. And we've seen through certain events, like something that happened in July, if you know what I mean, that the news from X was where we got the truth. We need it during times of crisis. And Salty Traveling Sea has something to say. There is indeed a very fine but very deep break between manufactured clickbait doom BS and actual objective, realistic but negative assessment news. Darn right. Well said. Fifth generation psyop warfare blurs it. That is absolutely true. And that's why I don't like psyop warfare. I really don't. The real bad news is enough to freak me out. Because we do need to have objective, realistic, but negative assessment of news. We saw how that was very positive, if you will. I just said negative and positive during the last 4 years because we had to see this. And yes, it was negative, but it was to bring things to light. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. But, manufactured clickbait doom BS and fifth generation psyop warfare blurs it. And that's where I have a real problem that the people in charge, the people that I put my trust in, they got to stop. They got to stop. Because I can't deal, me personally, and I know a lot of other people, and we're seeing that this is affecting real situations, is I gotta be able to trust you. I gotta be able to trust you that your yes means yes and your no means no. I've gotta know what I'm dealing with, and you're right, it blurs it. Take breaks from social media and news consumption. Yeah, that's the only way to do it, and I would say cold turkey. I felt so good when I was doing that last week, and then because of news, I had to get back on. I'm like, "Oh, here I am once again." Focus on positive and uplifting content. Now, this is where someone was saying, they were saying about, Rachel Zegler. That's fun, that's harmless. Schadenfreude is always good. It feels good. Everyone loves a bit of Schadenfreude. Yeah, let me see how bad Snow White did this week. Oh, that just makes me feel so good. Yeah, I'm a firm believer in Schadenfreude for good, or looking at kitten videos or dog videos or koala videos. All of those things are very, very good for them. Oh, speaking of which, Hound 3000 the saying, seeing Zegler's Snow White film failing is very uplifting content. Yeah, yeah. Everyone loves a bit of Schadenfreude. Everyone loves to see karma happen. Yeah. Yep. All right. What's another one? Engage in activities that promote well being, such as exercise, hobbies, or spending time with loved ones. Yeah. I think in general, that's a good idea. First of all, exercise. Exercise does make you feel better. It gives you endorphins and all that. It makes you healthier, and the healthier you are, the better you feel. Hobbies, yeah, get into your hobbies. You know, go crochet something like I do, or watch uplifting content. Watch an old movie. Watch or play a board game with friends. Spend time with loved ones, and of course, seek professional help if it's significantly affecting your mental health. And it does. I We all laugh at some of those, "Look at this person losing their crap." Now, first of all, we think by this point a lot of it's fake because they saw how the original ones went viral. On the other hand, when you see some of these people really losing it, and I know that they're coming from the left, but hey, they're still people. It's coming from doom scrolling. I mean, they're losing their crap because they really truly believe it. And trolling them doesn't help. Because if you've got people that are crazy, well, we've seen what people that are crazy willing to do. Look at what's going on with Tesla. Even though we know a lot of it is astroturfed, a lot of it is not. Mm, yeah. But yeah, it can affect your psychological health. And remember, a lot of people are just crazy. See, what's an example of doom scrolling? While searching for positive or upbeat news, you get caught up in a sea of negative stories. You try to stay on top of the news so much, which is a good thing. I mean, I learned to stay on top of the news, that your mind goes into autopilot mode and you start scrolling out of habit. You feel down, so you spend more time online than usual to try to lift your mood. Yeah. Some people call it doom surfing. Yeah. It's bad. And I've said before, I feel like it really is an issue when people then deliberately do it to try to agitate people. But I don't know, our empathy for other human beings has fallen so far. I don't know if we can get it back up again. When the internet first started, we really thought that it would improve these kind of situations. But in a way, it made it worse, you know. And then with AI is really good, but how do I say this? You know that whole really creepy "you'll own nothing and you'll be happy"? If AI takes over all our jobs and we're not given any other alternatives, you're gonna have a whole bunch of the populace without jobs. That means without money. So what are they gonna do? They'll own nothing and they may be happy. I mean, I don't know what the plan is for when AI takes over. Archer Collins says, "Wait, you mean doom scrolling is not about scrolling through videos from a mass use?" No. Good one. Well, we know a lot of that stuff isn't true either, but it gets views. That's where positive news can be used to manipulate people. It's going to change, it's going to turn around, but it doesn't. Yeah. What it all really truly boils down to is we need to look after our psychological health. And if you feel like crap after doing something, that needs to be a sign, that needs to be a signal. And someone help me. If we can't trust even from like official accounts, even from our public officials, who can we trust? I mean, help me out here. Help me out. Because it makes it very difficult to defend certain situations, and it makes it very difficult to get a grasp on what's truly going on. Sort of Poopa Scribber says, I try to stay on top of things, but I keep falling off. Yeah, well, I know polar bears' life is kind of tricky and, it can get a little wobbly out there on your iceberg. So I completely understand that. Yeah. That's why I'm thinking that the only way to solve this trap is to get away from it, especially if you find yourself having issues with it. Just quit. And I'm going to try to go back to that because, again, I'm still in a situation where I'm being told somebody is just joking. And I'm like, well, then I can't. I just can't. And if that makes me a weak person, it makes me a weak person. But I can't sit around and try to guess if what I'm being told by the man I voted for is real or not. Just can't deal with it. Let other people deal with it. Trust Ivanova. Salty Traveling Sea says, we can trust our inner voice and intuition. Perhaps that is a Gen X thing. Your mileage may vary without generations. Yeah, that's true. And my inner voice and intuition is unsettled. And that's what I trust. Yeah. I trust the feeling of discomfort that I'm feeling right now. It's very odd. Everything is really, really odd right now. But yeah, for the most part, yeah. Well, my BS monitor has been better because the one that I saw yesterday and then she got expelled, and then I very quickly asked myself, where's the link? Where's the source? And then I'm like, okay, I was had. So it's getting faster, and I am trusting that inner voice. Yeah. I guess you know them by their deeds because you can't know people by their words anymore. And I think that is a problem that we need to address. Other generations. With other generations, your mileage may vary with other generations. That's true. And when we have people that are being raised in this generation, for lack of a better word, they're almost feral, and they have no conscience, and they have no sense of right and wrong, and the pleasure they seem to take in truly harming, truly causing someone pain. It's very disturbing. Very, very disturbing. We're raising a bunch of serial killers. I think that some like to doom scroll because seeing all the negative news make their life seem good. Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, or a good thing, or that is a thing, whether it's good or not. Miss Martin Muses, you missed a Babylon 5 reference. Oh, I did. Oh, Ivanova. Okay. I've only seen Babylon 5 once, but I loved it. Loved it. Everyone needs to watch Babylon 5. People like to feel outraged, says Norporia Life Form. Yes. Well, it's a thing. But you can't constantly stay at that outrage state without either blowing up or going nuts. Like, just imagine the same flight or fight thing that we have where you're being chased by the lion and you're always being chased by the lion 24/7. Eventually, you can't keep up that level of adrenaline. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. That's one thing. It does make you kind of feel better. And sometimes I gotta admit it does. It's like, at least my life's not that bad. And that outrages me, says an Orporeal life form. Do polar bears feel outrage? Salty Traveling Sea says it's very odd, but I also add that we are all being affected by more than the media. Ooh. Rapid geophysical changes are occurring in the planet, some naturals and others geoengineered. Interesting. Physical changes. Are you talking like about like the Earth's crust and stuff? And others geoengineered. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we do know during the last 4 years, especially, it really came out of the closet, the deep state. Whew. But yeah, that's a very interesting thought. Of course, we do, especially if there's a shortage of seals, talking about polar bears. No Prairie Life Form says best character is Lando Malari, followed closely by good Jakar. It is Stephen Ransom. Morning, you all. Good morning. Yes. Yeah, there's definitely a feeling of unease. And trust that instinct. But will the world keep turning whether or not you're doom scrolling or not? Yes, it will. I check in. Like there was an election coming up in May in many places. Stay alert. Stay alert for your local elections, your special elections. What happened in Pennsylvania was ridiculous. And for that, I do blame the GOP. They have their thumbs up their butt sometimes, and we sleep, but the other side never sleeps. It's like, wake up, people. Come on. So yeah, you need to stay on top of elections, but a person needs to ask themselves, especially from our leadership, when you got an election coming up, is this the time to start trolling in a way that might change people's minds during the election? Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Let's see. Having been Archer Collins says, having been following your elections that much, what happened? Well, in Pennsylvania, the Republicans sat on their asses during a special election, and the Democrats flipped a Senate seat. Lost by 432 votes, I believe. It's like, wake up. And I get very frustrated because, there's an upcoming election. I'm like, help me out. What's going on? I'm not getting anything from the Republican side. It's like they're not even trying. And I know that they sit around and go, well, this is probably going to be a loss, so we're not going to even try. And it's like, well, that's the attitude that has made us lose for so long. Because the other side never thinks, oh, maybe it won't work. Like, look at all the money they put into the special election in Florida. Even though they lost, they still tried. And eventually, if you have that kind of perseverance, it might work. We got the result that we did in 2024 because they believed it could happen. And we need people more than Scott Pressler out there. I mean, come on. The work he does is great, but don't take him for granted, because eventually you leave people like him out alone in the cold without support. They're going to say, screw it. If you're not going to help me, I'm not going to help you. As much as I support him, says Snortopupus Kruber, Orange Man worries me. His ego is enormous, and he's prone to go with anyone kissing his rump. Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. It is worrying me. His judgment is very poor, and he's snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. For what? A joke? Stephen Ransom says, Salty is right. There are forces beyond politics, pop culture, and toxic discourse. This may be a spiritual moment for mankind. A spurt of internal growth in Europe is a signal to all. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't talk about spiritual warfare. It's right there in Europe. And I don't know what to tell y'all over there. I told Told Ireland not to abandon the faith because something is going to come in and fill the vacuum, and it's not going to be pleasant. Snorter Poop says, Stephen Ransom says, Snorter Poop is Cooper. I stepped away from my Twix to feel for my next move. Yeah. Snorter Poop is Cooper. The right won a victory last November, but they're complacent now. Darn right. Complacent and cocky. I've already mentioned what Carl Benjamin said, and it was so on point. He's like, because of these jokes about we're going to take over your nation hostilely, it's making the conservative movements in these countries impossible to move forward, because if you're going to be friendly to the conservative view, or if you're going to say you're going to work with Donald Trump, you're going to be working with Donald Trump, the orange man, to take over your country, to have it annexed to another country, or Denmark, another European country. So if you're trying to move forward in these countries with conservatism, he's making it impossible. And we need that. We need this to be an international movement, not just an American movement. And because they have parliamentary systems over there, even if you don't win, but if you gain seats, it can make a difference. And it's just so short-sighted. It makes me sick. Good luck. Oh, says Stephen Ransom. Salty Traveling Sea says, it's also adrenal fatigue. Oh, that's the physical symptom of chronic doom worry, as well as not being active, eating poorly. Damn right. Take magnesium and ashwagandha daily. I've since the COVID helps. Yes, my doctor has recommended magnesium as well. You can get them as supplements. Turmeric, I'm going to say turmeric acid, not turmeric acid. Whatever turmeric is, that's good for you as well. That's good for other healthy reasons. But yeah, it's adrenaline fatigue. And that's why doom scrolling hurts us, because it keeps you in a constant state of adrenaline. And that's just a great thing. And that's why I'm like, we can't waste our adrenaline. We've got to have our adrenaline on something that is real. And if it's not, then we can't have our adrenaline for when it's needed. Cheers and good thought, says Salty Traveling Sea to Stephen Ransom. Snorter Poopus Gruber, I wish you would stop talking about taking over Canada and Greenland. Everyone does. Everyone does. That's what it's hurting. Because if you are then aligned with him, you're aligned with, again, treason. So if the conservatives like, I'm going to work with Donald Trump and all this, and then he's a traitor. So he can't. So, and you've seen what happened in Canada with the polls. I mean, of course, they probably wouldn't have won, but conservatives were set to gain. And that's what we need. And what's he gaining from it? What's he gaining? What's we're gaining from it? It's only been a loss. It's not been a gain. But he doesn't listen. Donald, Stevenson said, Salty, Donald isn't the problem. He's the face of the right's anger about our loss of peace. We were promised a return to a normal state. Donald isn't the problem. He's the face of the right's anger about our loss of peace. We were promised a return to a normal state. Yeah. I think I understand what you're saying here, but you're saying he's not the problem. Well, we were talking about we were going to get things good. We didn't know we were going to be going to war. Salty Traveling Sea is saying, though, we need Greenland. Arctic is a new battlefield now. It's economic warfare. By 2030, it might likely change. Okay, so you're saying that he's not joking. He really is going to take over, hostily take over. And that'll be an act of war. And, I mean, maybe we need to... I don't know. Maybe there's things we don't know about. Salty Traveling Sea saying to Stephen Ransom, define normal after all the BS that the globalists put us through since 9/11, COVID poisoning. Yeah. Well, I think we wanted to go back to, well, for lack of a better word, make America great again. We wanted to go back to trust. We wanted to go back to power to the people, if you will, in the good sense of the word. We wanted to go back to the adults were in charge because it was very unsettling, to make an understatement, the last 4 years when we knew that there was a puppet leading us. So we wanted to have a security in the leadership now. Let the polar bears take over Greenland, says Snorta Poop Scoober. We'd set things right. That's true. I never said Donald's a problem. I support him. Yeah, maybe I said he was the problem. The Trump trolling is a tactic to reveal the left, and they're confessing their butts off. Well, in some cases, but like I said, but uh, the collateral damage is what I'm talking about. That he's not just hurting the left with this. And he needs to give reassurance then to those that are with him. And he just right now doesn't seem to be doing that. I'm saying this as a supporter of his. And, this doesn't mean I'm not going to go to the other side. Absolutely not. But, you got to throw a bone now and then. No, pro-life friends towards Greenland has to choose its own destiny. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a sovereign nation. It belongs to Denmark. And we need to ask ourselves, okay, are we going to become an America that's going to start taking over things again? And I'm trying to think of when the last time we truly did that. And of course, we all know what we did with the Native Americans, but like in the Mexican-American War. Let's see. Greek letter guy, MAGA and power to the people are mutually exclusive. Moving on. Interesting. Oh, well, and maybe are you talking about power to the people from maybe the leftist point of view? Yeah, but well, the idea is that we're going to get government out of our lives and go back to more of a state level thing and subsidiary and not getting ourselves involved in wars. Though we may be talking about two different things. Archer Collins says, oh, wait. See, here it is. Oh, whoops, I missed some. Man, you all are, things are jumping all over the place. I apologized about this. Okay. Josh XIZ, thank you for being here. Greenland, Ukraine, etc., all just land grab for resources. Archer Collins says, I've seen a few apparently Canadians say they want to be taken over, not sure how serious they were, though. Yeah, I think in those cases, they're more like, hey, we gotta you gotta be careful. Yeah, that they don't like their government. Yeah, but most people don't want a hostile takeover. I've seen that too, says Archer Collins. I even joke about it with them, but I can't tell if they're a majority or not. Yeah. Well, certain states are more conservative. Like, when you look at America, you've got like Texas versus New York or California. Archer Collins says, I have also seen suggestions that Greenland would actually benefit by being taken over by the U.S., and even that financially Denmark would be better off without it. I mean, and all of that might be true. But is this a precedent we want to start? It's like, okay, we're just going to start an empire now? And we're going to turn into England, the British Empire 2.0? I mean, what's the end game? And that's all I think that we really need to hear. It's like, what's going on with all this? And if it is a joke, let us know if it's a joke. Stephen Rinson says, after spending years hanging out with NA and AA folks, Narcotic Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous folks, I discovered that anything above the bottom is an improvement. True. And we were at rock bottom. Truck is the rock bottom present. Good point. Sort of Poopus Cooper says, yeah, difficult to tell what is a joke at times these days. And that's the concern. We need to know. A recovery president. I like that. From what I've seen, the people of Greenland, what few of them there are, want to be independent. I'd support them and pledge to help them defend their independence. Well, if that's what they want, but they have made it very clear that they don't want America doing this. They don't want America coming in and messing with them. Chat is popping. Signs of the times. Yes, it is. Good times. Let's see. Greek letter man. There's power to the people, period. No leftist point of view, no right wing point of view. If you want power to the people and you think Trump will accomplish that, you need to reevaluate your decisions. Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Well, yeah, I mean, those things can only come from within, and one could argue from God. Nature's God. Archer Khan says, if you turn into the British Empire 2.0, please remember how we did it rather than anyone else. Yeah. Oh, dear. Well, and that's what we need to know. That's just what we need to know. That's all. And otherwise, you have unease. And people that are uncertain will maybe not make the wisest decisions. Or don't give people a reason to regret. Like, we had people change their minds. That's how Donald Trump got elected. That's how we defeated the left in this last election. We don't want them changing back. Okay, I'm going to have to go now. Things are happening here. I want to thank everyone for